In this video, I will show you two methods to make one object with all of these little objects that we have here. So what I will do, I will just duplicate the collection one time, call it metal for export here, joined, Boolean, okay, and duplicate it again, and this time it will be with the remesh and decimate. Okay, good. So what we have now, we can play with the Boolean first here. The Boolean, it's simple actually. When you want to create one object from two or a lot of objects, you select the one that will receive all the others, and then you select everything to have all your objects selected. So one that receives everything has to be yellow, the others has to be orange. So the goal for that is to not make a Control J. Control J will just join the objects, but not make the real joining in edit mode. For example, you will still have some separated objects, geometries here that are just inside and cross each other. It's really not what we want actually. So for that, we'll just use the bool tool, and for that we go into the edit here. You have the bool tool enabled, and in that case you just make a union with everything. So you wait a little, it takes a while, and now you have everything that is joined into one object. And what you can see is now in edit mode, you can see that there is no crossing, and that now if I make L, it takes everything, so it means that everything is linked. Okay, so you have here our final ring for export 1. Okay, perfect. So this is the first way of doing it. If you have problems with Booleans, sometimes it can happen that Booleans doesn't work well, especially sometimes when some geometry are really against each other, like this, for example. Let's say here you have a geometry like that. Okay, I will just make an example to show you that, and I will duplicate that and make a separation of it. So, and there at that point I make an extrude. Okay, so in that case I really have some surface, some double surface at this point. Here the surface inside will be exactly the same than this surface inside here. So it doesn't cross the other geometry, and it can create problems when you want to make a Boolean in that case. So in that case it will not work well. And let's say we have this kind of problems, and the second possibility is the remesh decimate option. So for the second possibility, we'll go there, and we have to make to put everything into one single object, like we did in the beginning with Control J. Okay, so we'll take everything and make just a Control J like that, so we have a new object with everything inside. And but this geometry crossing each other, and it's not really what we want. So what we want to resolve that, we will use the modifier here, remesh. The modifier remesh by default use a voxel size at 0.1 mm. So it kind of creates a cage, a shape of the geometry around that with here the voxel size. So the voxel size, it's the little squares that you see here, and by default it's 0.1 mm. So you have to go down slowly and to not decrease this too far and too much, or sometimes it can even crash the project when there is too much vertices here. You can see that you have already 66,000. So if I decrease by 0.5, so by 2, divide by 2, I have already 260, okay? And so I have to decrease slowly to have enough geometry, to have enough here details here into the project, and to have this, maybe I will have to 0.02, something like that. You see, it takes a little time, and we have 1 million, but we have all the details that came back here. So what is good is that this kind of creating a shape around the geometry makes really things smooth and everything, and you will have all your design that is done. So but it creates a lot of vertices, as you can see, 1 million, and maybe sometimes you don't want to export all of that directly. So what I do usually to not create too much problems, because when you export a file, the size of the file that you will export will be proportional of the number of vertices that you have here, and you have 1.6 million vertices here, so that's a lot. So it will create a big file, and more time to export, more time to receive, more space in the cloud, everything. So you can maybe make something a little less big like that. So what I do, I use a modifier here, decimate. The modifier that we did use to make here some faceting like that. But what we would like now, it just decrease by 0.1, okay? We have to wait a little. You put 0.1, put enter, and you wait a little because it's a lot of calculation. You see Blender is not happy, is making no answer here, but it will be okay after a time. Just let him work a little, because it's 1.6 million vertices to manage. And now you see it did create another with 166 here, so a far better object. And if you want to export that, you just have to go now select this object, you apply everything here, or you when you export, you have a possibility to export by applying modifiers like this. You don't have to make this destructive thing, but here we will make destruction because we'll have our metal for export with all the objects here, so we did already duplicate it. So I will just apply our, again, it will recalculate everything to apply everything, so it might take some time. Don't worry with that. Just let Blender go. Don't click everywhere. It's not a good idea. Just let him work. And when it's finished, you have an entire mesh that is really with no problems inside, no doubles or no bad geometry. Yeah, no how you call that? No non-manifold geometry. So yeah, everything should be cleaned, and you don't have to clean anything on that. So let's wait a little more. It will come. Yeah, it's here, and now we have our geometry. You can see in edit mode here, it did really remove a lot of vertices here compared before, and keep only the geometry that is important to preserve the details. Okay. So here we have here the remesh decimate. So again, we will call that one the same name as this one. Export 2, okay, and this one we will call it metal final ring for export 3. in the export video, it will be the next video. So in the next video, we'll see how to export that with the STL exporter, and we will see how to import that into another software just to see if the 3D printing software takes it well, and if the file is well exported.